This week on the Baseline Podcast, Josh and I welcome back a very good friend of the show, Kris Drew from the Menace to Sports podcast. And we are going to break down a lot of things with him. We know he's a big NBA guy. We know he loves college football. So we're going to talk all of it with him. We're going to talk about the NBA draft, what we think is going to happen in free agency. And then we're going to break down what the season ahead looks like for the Ohio State Buckeyes and what they might do this year that might shock a lot of people. All that and so much more coming up on the Baseline Podcast. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Podcast. I'm Ben, that's Josh, and yes, Kris is back with us. It's been so long. The last time we left off, ended up being demoralizing for Kris and I. But he is back after many months away. We're going to be talking about some football. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things. But Josh and I both, I think we both can say, Josh, that it's good to be back after we took a week off. That just magically just took off.
Yeah, stupid work schedules and stuff, man, getting in the way of more podcast content. But
it's fine.
Hey, man, like you said, we got a guest on for the first time in a while, and Baby Gronk never got back to my DM, so we settled on Kris, and I think nobody's gonna be mad about that.
Kris, how are you doing?
I'm real good, man. I love doing this. I love being on your guys' show, so I'm happy to kind of be around. I got the little home studio today, and I'm ready to talk all things with the round ball, all things sports, right?
True. All things
sports.
Yeah.
Usually we bring Kris on to talk Ohio State football, and we definitely will today. But we also want to tap into the NBA too. We know Kris is a big NBA fan. Maybe he can answer some of my questions. Ben is a little bit more tapped into that scene as well. But we did not get to talk about the finals last week since we didn't have an episode. Denver in 5, guys. Anybody shocked by that? I mean, I think that's Ben's prediction from the beginning.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised at all, but honestly, like this finals was so odd, and for me was like kind of
it was fun.
A coming of age almost, like for Denver, because I always felt like Denver was one of those fun teams, and they reminded me kind of those early Thunder teams that had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden in terms of like being able to stack talent, but we're not sure if the window will ever be there for them to win the title. Fortunately, they didn't run into that Heat team that Thunder team ran into back in the day. No LeBron, obviously on this Heat team, and the Heat team, while well coached, I think they greatly overachieved. I don't think they were the best team in the East, but sometimes in playoff basketball, when certain guys get hot and certain coaches adjust better than others, you get instances where teams make good runs, and they were not the best team in the East suited enough to beat Denver. But for Denver, obviously for the Joker, I mean, he's now entered rare air. I mean, you got the back-to-back MVPs, obviously.
Now you got
three gets a little tricky. He probably deserves to win a third, but like, you know how the NBA voters are.
I know.
They vote almost historically, and it's like, sure, he was the MVP in these 3 years, but like, think about all the guys that don't have 3 MVPs back to back to back, or think about the guys that don't even have 3 MVPs period. So we won't ever do that. And I think it's almost like a shame thing, because like, just on the MVP discussion, I think it's like a shame thing, because I think the NBA writers are still shameful that Kobe Bryant only finished with 1 MVP and Steve Nash finished with 2. I think historically speaking, they just never want to allow that to happen again. Because there's been a couple cases where like I thought James Harden should have won MVP 3 out of 4 years. I thought that there were plenty of years where LeBron deserved the MVP, and the voters are like, well, let's give it to him. Let's give it to him. Let's give it to him. So there isn't kind of that black eye.
First off, there's your issue. It's the writers. That's the issue that's deciding this. That's the issue.
It absolutely is the writers. I really do think that black eye of Steve Nash winning those back-to-back MVPs without averaging 20 points, when you had Kobe Bryant literally at the peak of his powers with the entire world on his back, one of 3 shooting guards in modern basketball history to average over 35 points a game, literally 2 layups away from averaging 40 a game, and yet you find a way to not give him the MVP. Which I found foolish. So that's really what this was. This was about, okay, Embiid had a historic season. We've already given 2 to Jokic. Let's give 1 to Embiid so Embiid doesn't finish without 1 period. It's a gross metric, a gross way to do it. But they did the same thing with Giannis. Like, that's why Giannis won 1 over Harden the 1 year, when Harden averaged, again, 36 points a game. Like, for me, at least, if you are scoring 36 points a game and like averaging over 8 assists, or if you were scoring 25 or over 10 assists, like, give that guy the MVP. But for Joker, now it's like you stack up his resume against some of the all-time great power forwards, and you have to feel like, okay, this is one, and then, or this is one of the guys that's probably top 5. And then additionally, it's right in the middle of his prime, and that Denver team is so long. They're so athletic, and it feels like they have the core nucleus to potentially win 2 out of 3, 3 out of 5. And then you're going to look back at a window and think, yeah, this was a really special run led by a basketball player that nobody's sure why he's so good, but he's always just out there hooping, if that makes sense.
And I can say this, for living over here in Europe, right? And I've been to professional games here in Hungary, and right, Hungary's not a power in the basketball world, but I've watched these dudes, like they're like 17 years old and they're playing against 35-year-old men. Mm-hmm. So when I people tell me, well, Jokic isn't really that good, he's not really flamboyant, I'm like, dude, he's down to earth. He's a family man, and that's what all he cares about, right? And that's where that happened from here. Look at all the European dudes right now that are studs in the NBA. Doncic, he's pretty much a family kind of guy. He's really like, he doesn't really do like party. You don't see him doing out parties. You don't see him doing that stuff. Giannis, for the most part, he's a family guy right now, right? You look at Jokic, and so when I've watched games over here, it's been astonishing to me to see 17, 18-year-old dudes that just look jacked. Not because they've lifted weights, because trust me, most of these guys don't. They're just grown man strength because they have been bullied. And when I mean bullied, I've seen dudes get like karate chopped in the throat going up for a layup, right? Because people always tell you, well, the European basketball's soft. I was one of those guys before I came over here and watched games. And then you realize, okay, they're not soft at all. It's just they play it in a different way. And to me, Jokic is like what every little kid, if you want to be a basketball player, whether you're 7 foot tall, whether you're 5'8", play like him, like with a heart, passion, care. Like he focuses on the right things. He doesn't get himself in trouble. Like, dude, he just personifies, I think, what any coach would want their players to be like, and I think that's what's awesome.
No, I agree. And I have a general theory on the whole like European thing. And my belief is because there's no AAU faction over in Europe, and I think because of that, because players don't benefit from being the most athletic, they actually have to play professionals. They're forced to really adapt and grow their games. Because in America right now, really what it boils down to, if you are the most athletic on your 17U team, you're going to end up being the best because you will just out jump everybody. You'll bully everybody. Like the strongest will win. But if those 17-year-olds were playing against 35-year-olds like they are over there in Europe, or even 25-year-olds where their athleticism has kind of gone away, but they've, faced their fair share of young athletes.
Grown man strength.
And grown man strength. And then additionally have added stuff to their actual bag. Like pro moves have gone away in AAU basketball. AAU basketball has been about fast breaks. It's been about dunks. It's been about super teams bullying other teams. And that's why guys' bags aren't getting deep. And that's why I do think a lot of times guys from Europe can come over. They don't have to be the most athletic to get their shot off. And that comes from, okay, I'm in this league. I'm playing against grown-ups who know how to defend a quick first step, who are crafty. It's like boxing almost. Like, yeah. In boxing, a lot of times these guys come from the amateurs. They're like these big power punchers. Then they get in a ring with a guy who's 30 years old, 32 years old. And the person that's 32 years old that's lasted this long has already seen the good athletes. I'm just going to outskill you. And if you don't adapt, you're not going to end up being a great player. And I just see it time and time again in American basketball, whether it's guys like Seventh Woods, Dennis Smith, even Marvin Bagley to an extent, guys who were really good athletes in high school and were able to out athlete people and out jump people in college. And as get to the league, no, everybody's seen that. Like that doesn't work here. Like Gerald Green wasn't a 50-point scorer a game because we've already seen athleticism. You can't win like that. You have to be able to move at your own pace and create for yourself, which is why guys like Luka come over here and they play at their own pace. It looks slow. You're confused about why it's open, but it's a reminder that basketball ultimately is a game about skill and not just pure athleticism. Yep. While the athleticism helps, the skill is the most important thing, which is why guys like Tim Duncan, longevity, even Kobe Bryant, like after those injuries, had to redefine himself. He became one of the best, high post players ever. Guys like Michael Jordan, when things started to slow down, what did he become? A mid-range killer. Guys like Chris Paul, outlasting Russell Westbrook. Why? Because he's got the skill in the bag. I mean, guys like Bradley Beal are better than Zach LaVine because why? He's got a deeper bag and knows how to can understand kind of the movement of playing basketball. LeBron, as the athleticism has faded, has redefined himself and added to his bag every single year. Tyler Hero, better than almost everybody drafted ahead of him. Why? Because it's not about athleticism. It's about, okay, my bag is deeper because even though I'm not the most athletic, I have to learn how to score against these guys. So that's my belief on European ball versus versus American ball. And I do think the AAU circuit has really poisoned basketball in the United States and kind of allowed other countries to catch back up. And that is my TED Talk for the day.
Dude, I agree with a lot
Agreed.
of what you said, man. These AAU kids, it's like they're not even they're playing in front of all these like shoe company executives and potential sponsors. So there's pressure to be like the best looking kid on the court. So if you're not scoring, you're not going to get noticed. And there's
Yeah,
so
it's created a highlight culture
a lot
instead
of
of a let's
individual
play the
play.
basketball culture.
Yes, I
And
agree.
I blame Hoop Mixtape. I blame Ball is Life because that's where this started. This started with like how can these kids go viral on clips and you get the cases of like Andrew Wiggins dunking on everyone in Huntington Prep. Okay, like that's cool, but he got to the NBA and what was the complaint? Wow, he has legitimately 4 moves and he can't shoot.
Nobody doubted that he was no athletic. That was basically why he was the first overall pick. They're like, oh yeah, his numbers weren't that great. He wasn't the greatest, yeah, even on his own team, but the potential and the athleticism, that'll cover a lot of deficiencies and not
I even,
really.
I even say that on the top of that is when he got drafted. Do you think if he was all that and was a complete five tool player, do you think that the Cavs would have traded Kevin Love for him? No. Like I honestly believe that if he was the legit like full five tool player, they would have never went after Kevin Love because they're like, we have what we got. So that to me shows they went after Kevin Love, who could barely dunk the ball, right? And could barely do anything other than rebound and score inside, right? But why? Because he physically and psychologically was better than every player.
Exactly. Well, they took a 3-tool player. It's rebounding, interior scoring, and shooting. They took a 3-tool player over Andrew Wiggins, who I view as a 2-tool player, which is defense and athleticism. Bro, funny story. Obviously, I'm from Northeast Ohio. I tried on the day of the draft or day after the draft to buy a Wiggins jersey before they traded him, like a Wiggins Cavs jersey, because I thought it was going to be like a novelty item. And I got confirmation, and it never shipped. They put it on hold, and they offered me the Timberwolves jersey because he got traded a couple days later. I was sick.
Could have
Ended up canceling. I was bummed.
Man, yeah, that'd have been something, dude. Shoot.
I do want to point out, though. I do want to point out, Josh, that I did call the Nuggets from the beginning of the playoffs to win it all. I do want to point that out.
You did, and I can't remember if I kind of followed you with them winning it all, but I did have them coming out of the West at least.
That is true.
And since we're kind of on that note too, Chris, you mentioned this window that they're in. They got Jokic, Murray, Michael Porter, all the core really under contract, all guys that they drafted for a little while now. And just looking at least the landscape of the West, LeBron and AD, I mean, they got their ring, but they haven't really been the same since. You look at a team like Phoenix, they're kind of in a window that's closing really quickly right now. You look at, I mean, the West used to be the power conference, but right now it's Denver. And I mean, the next highest seeds were Sacramento, Memphis. It's like, I don't think any of those teams are going to hold a candle to Denver. And so on that note, how many more rings can Denver get over the next 5 years, you think?
I think they can get 2 more. And one of the things I was dying to see this year was James Harden and Embiid versus Murray and Jokic. I thought that was like a perfect clash.
I wanted it, dude.
That was what I preferred because I do think kind of.
But they choke.
Like, they did. James Harden, I'm convinced, does not love basketball.
He doesn't.
Dude, going to a game 7 and just be like cool with shooting 4 shots in the first half. I was like, oh yeah, like I've seen this before. As a Harden follower, great at basketball, one of the best we've ever seen, but does not love basketball. But even like my Harden bias aside, I wanted to see the centers clash because those are the two.
Dude, yeah.
Those are the 2 dominant centers, and like NBA has moved to small ball, and while everybody zigged, those are the only 2 teams in basketball that zagged. And I would like to see them matched up just because I think Embiid is your last true bully and Jokic is your hyper skillful, guard that's in a center's body. So that's what I would have liked. And I thought the flop off would have been exceptional. But just each generation deserves a big man off. And I think that would have been a really great one to see.
Agreed.
And foreign players, both of them foreign. It would have been good for the international brand.
The brand is good.
Shout out to Embiid. He played on that Kansas team with Wiggins, man, and was the better player all year.
That's true,
man.
All year. I think Wiggins had 1 game near the end of the year when he played for Kansas where he dropped off for 40. But other than that, it was Embiid dominating everybody on that Kansas team.
what
Man,
happens.
speaking of Embiid too, man, that Eastern Conference, Miami, I think to an extent did overachieve. They had to go through a lot of good
100%.
teams. Milwaukee ended up firing Budenholzer, which I thought was wild after that whole
Very
thing.
wild.
Boston seems to be so close, but not quite. And then Philly, it's always something with Philly, it seems like.
Cavs are close.
Yeah, and the Cavs are building up there too. Who do you like maybe in the East going forward that could maybe be facing Denver for some of these titles?
I like nobody.
Nobody.
No, I don't trust a soul in the
It's
East.
so, yeah.
It's so murky. Like every single team in the East is deeply flawed. I think it's time for James Harden to move back to just being a shooting guard, and Philly needs to go get a point guard if he even remains in Philly. There's talk that he wants to go back to Houston, which would be interesting. And if that's the case, that really hurts Embiid because Harden's ability to pass. I mean, the assist leader this year really gave Embiid enough of one-on-one options. I think they're deeply flawed.
Chris
and
Paul buyout.
With a new coach. Yeah, the Chris Paul buyout obviously
would be go right to Philly.
He's in Washington. I mean, he's a Philly fit. But you never know what you're going to get kind of from Chris Paul, at least coaching wise, because he does a thing where he will undermine the coach sometimes, and that's kind of been his issue in his latter years. But obviously, I think he would help Embiid. I mean, Chris Paul made Clint Capella an all-star, which is wild to think about. I don't trust the Knicks. I just
does anybody?
I feel like they'll never be good, and they should just sell the team. It's the Dolan sports curse that never goes away. Miami will always overachieve because Spoelstra is the best coach in basketball,
good,
in my
It's
opinion.
wild.
So good.
He's unbelievable, but he's so good that I think Pat Riley has fallen in love with. Instead of going to get premier talent, they want to take all these project cats and turn them into something. And it's like, holy smokes, like you could do this with a lot of project cats and journeymen. Like, go get a star, go get a premier player.
Yeah.
I thought they should have made a run at Pascal Siakam a couple of years ago. So I think he would have been perfect to go next to Bam. And they got really, really arrogant with that. And they feel like, they can just build their own Pascal. So
Kevin Love's not your answer when he's at the end of his career. He's just
definitely not the answer. And can't defend in current basketball. So I don't trust them either. And really with Boston, I think they're cursed. I think it's like every time I think they have a window wide open, and like I'm sick and tired of hearing Jason Tatum. He's only 19 for the last 5 years.
That's true.
I'm out on Tatum also. I think Tatum lucked up that Harden hates basketball because there was some narrative breaking that went on there.
I would say Cleveland is one piece away. I think they're one piece away from being you need to get a three, right? Like a small forward. Mm-hmm. You need to get something, right? Like I've said this for the last couple of years. I've talked to Josh on the podcast. Like I always felt like, hey, you have Mobley and you have Allen inside. That there you go. Don't touch that, right? Leave that there. You have Garland and you have Mitchell. Leave that. Don't touch that, right? All you need is a big 6'7" wing that can just shoot. He can guard. He can be athletic. Okoro's not your answer. He's 6'5". He's not your answer. No. Osman's been there. He hasn't proven anything. Right. I've said since day one, if they could land where they trade up in the draft, right? If they could trade up in the draft and get someone, or if you just go out and find someone, like I've heard someone say, and this would be, I would lose my mind if this happened. Someone said on a podcast a couple days ago, what if Draymond Green went to the Cavs?
That's ideal.
And to be honest, as much as I hate
that'd
that,
be like Dennis Rodman leaving the bad boy
Pistons
and going to Chicago.
Because see,
Rondo played for the Celtics and the Lakers.
Yeah,
he did.
So I've said this, that I think if that were to happen, I think it'd be weird as a Cavs fan. I just feel weird about it. It'd just be weird for the first couple weeks. But to be honest, dude, that'd solve all your issues. What's the issues the Cavs have had? What happens when Mitchell goes down? They don't have a guy that can if Garland and Mitchell are out, they have no one there that can pick up the ball and do something with. I'm not saying Green's your scorer, but what Green does give you is stability at that 3 spot or that 4 spot, right? And
it's a shame.
What?
It's a shame they moved on from Kevin Porter Jr.
Agreed.
I said that
was 1,000
for throwing food, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Like that's That's really the one because he solves your issue. He's really good defensively, really good as a ball handler, can play the 1, 2, and the 3, can defend the 1 through 3. I mean, is capable of exploding. I don't know if you guys know, he's the youngest player in Rockets history to ever score 50 points in a game.
Yeah.
And he also had 10 assists in that game.
Yeah.
So that's the one. I don't know.
That is one.
Just work with the kid. Like, why would you take his locker away, move him to the base? But like, just let him grow. They act like he was being like Ja Morant. Like he threw some.
Was
food.
that also when John Beeline was coaching?
Yeah.
Yes. That's the other
that
issue.
dude would do stuff like that. So
Well, and I have my own issue with Beeline too. I think Beeline has a little racism in him.
maybe he does, but at least
there
on
was
the surface,
there was that
it seemed like
conversation he had with Sexton about like you guys are playing like thugs, and it's like, oh, that's when I was covering sports in the area, and that's when I know that he lost the team entirely. He also decided to draft Dylan Windler for work ethic reasons over Jordan Poole, which
Windler will never pan out as an NBA player. I can tell you that.
And
much.
Jordan Poole was voted a captain at Michigan when you were the head coach.
Yeah,
his own dude. Yeah. Well,
the only other guy I say the Cavs needed to go up and trade is Sensenball from Ohio State. To go up and get Sensenball in the late first round. That's all I'm saying.
I'm deeply connected to Sensenball. I think he's a top 10 pick if his knee was healthy. Real cool dude. I'm hoping to link up with him soon. His next door neighbor, his family, his aunt and cousin are my next door neighbors back in Akron. So we kick it all the time. We're on the game. That's
awesome, man.
I am unreasonable. I'm unrationally biased towards him. I wasn't gonna bring him up. I think he's the chosen one. Like up close and personal, getting to kind of maneuver. So I wasn't gonna bring it up. But if you get him, I'm picking us to come out of the East. I mean, picking the Cavs to come out of the East.
I definitely wanted to talk about Bryce later once we get to like the draft discussion. But for now, since we're talking about like potential pieces that all these teams could add, whether it's Miami, Cleveland, a Phoenix or something like that. These are all the top unrestricted free agents this summer. So we got Russell Westbrook, we got Kyrie Irving, D'Angelo Russell, Kevin Love, Nikola Vucevic, Draymond Green, Fred VanVleet, Harrison Barnes, Jeremy Grant, Karis LeVert, Will Barton.
It's a gross class.
It's gross.
That's disgusting.
It's awful.
You should have put,
I was like, man,
put not safe for work before you read that list.
Not safe for work.
This is the thing is I think literally all the NBA teams could come over here to Europe and just get the best player from each European team, and it might be close to equivalent to that list.
Yeah, like is Christian Wood a free agent?
Christian Wood is. I got a couple others here that I can name. I wasn't going to go all the way down.
I like him better than everybody you just listed, except for
we got
Draymond,
Christian Wood,
I would say
Lopez,
Fred
Kyle
VanVleet's
Kuzma, Kelly Oubre, Josh Richardson,
Kyle
Dylan
Kuzma,
Brooks, Dwight Powell.
Kyle Kuzma, when he's on, is not that bad of a ball player.
I'm out on Kyle. He doesn't love basketball.
Dude, did you hear, by the way, I don't know if you heard, and this goes in that conversation, kind of what Josh was talking about, with like guys with basketball and stuff, is like, I think it was DeMar DeRozan came on a podcast or something like that and was saying that like he thinks that like 60% of the league or a big percentage of the league hates basketball. They're just there for the money and the fame, and they don't care about actual playing basketball.
Yeah, that's what Spencer Dinwiddie was saying. He was like, Kuz is cool, but he doesn't like basketball. He just happens to be good at it.
That just annoys me. Oh,
mm-hmm.
I'll take your money. If you don't want it, I'll take the money.
I love basketball. I go play for free on Mondays all the way in Springfield, just for free.
You drive to Springfield from Columbus?
You drive to Springfield from Columbus? Jeez.
Yeah, every Monday.
Dang. Man, yeah, Chris
loves
basketball, guys.
You love Springfield.
Well, I also enjoy just being out of the city. Springfield feels like in the middle of nowhere. I play at this church with these guys that host a podcast. They started inviting me. It's like, all right.
Yo, we might know the church, dude. What's the church?
What's the church name?
I could not tell you.
Is it
it's on our Urbana Road or something? Hold up.
Is that I'm trying to think, Josh? Is that is it off the highway?
Hold on, let me see. I should know the address. I don't know the name of the church. I'm awful. Oh, it's First Christian Church.
I've heard of it. I have friends that went there. Yeah, that's just fascinating. See, this is what happens when we bring Chris on. Something fascinating always happens when he comes on.
The reason I was asking Chris, we went to school in Cedarville, so it's like
that's
a 10-minute drive south.
It's 10 minutes drive. Yeah. So everyone goes up to Springfield. Like everyone heads up to Springfield.
I'll go to Springfield too. play some ball out there.
Dude, there's a Chick-fil-A up there now too. So
Is there?
yeah, right
There's a Cane's over by me, but I've been trying to eat clean, so I look like Josh. But
I knew you were gonna mention that in the episode.
I love me some Canes every now and then too. Shoot, guys, by the way, I doubt they're gonna opt out of these options, but there's player options for Chris Middleton, James Harden, and Kristaps Porzingis. Middleton has a 40.4 million option. Think he's gonna opt into that. Harden's got 35.6. It's gonna be interesting, and Porzingis has a $36 million option.
So, as a James Harden follower, I think James will only opt out if Houston's willing to pay him at least 25 to 30 million.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know if you guys know, but like Harden he loves culture. He's a really good basketball. I think he loves one-on-one basketball, but not team basketball. But he has a music studio down there in Houston, and that's where like Lil Baby records, Travis Scott records, and he owns a studio. Like that's like one of his things.
It's like his business.
Yeah, well, not even business. He just like I don't even know how much money he makes on it. It's just like a for fun thing. I think
it must be nice to have money to just do these for fun things and own a studio.
For sure, like owns a crazy music studio, so he'll just be there with the rappers. I know he gifted Lil Baby like 40 bands for his birthday. It's just like just ridiculous stuff.
Tell you what, the Rockets got the most cap space right now.
Do.
They got almost $48 million in cap,
and they have a really young nucleus. I do love the trajectory of Jalen Green and Kevin. Jason Tate is also there, which he's their new PJ Tucker. They put him at the 4. And they
He's 6'4", 240.
Yeah,
power forward.
Go be PJ Tucker. So no, I wanted the Rockets to get Wemby because I thought that would have been a really fun group, but yeah, they're not going to get Wemby.
No.
We've already seen one big trade already. I think you brought up Bradley Beal going over to Phoenix. Do you think that team now with Beal, Booker, Ayton, and Kevin Durant is any more scary than it was with Chris Paul previously?
They need depth and length. They need depth and defense. So
I agree, and this solves none of it.
So and now they have Devin Booker, and they have two different Devin Bookers in different fonts, and Bradley Beal and Devin Booker.
Oh, so this is what Sam Acho said, I think, on ESPN, or one of the guys on ESPN, Emmanuel Acho, I think, who said it.
Emmanuel Acho's on Fox.
Yeah, or Fox. He said that he's like, basically, he goes, let me look at this. Look, it's the same person in just 3 different sizes. Like he basically said, like it's the same person in 3 different sizes,
different fonts.
He said Snickers. He's like, here's a king size Snicker. This is Kevin Durant. Here's a normal size Snicker. This is Devin Booker. And here's a fun size Snicker, and that is Bradley Beal.
It's literally what it is. Like Bradley Beal and Devin Booker are the same player, same bag, same scoring spots. They're the same, except for Devin Booker's a little bit taller,
and also
I don't know who's going to pass. I mean, nobody's passing.
And also the fact that that Chris Paul found out from his son is also very disturbing. That's how he found out that he got traded, which is just messed up. But that's just me.
Definitely messed up. And then you have DeAndre Ayton, who I'm not sure even knows how to play basketball yet. So
they're saying that he's going to get traded to the who was it? They were saying like a good trade for him would be going to the Knicks,
Portland?
I believe. They said Knicks, a swap. They said a swap for like Mitchell Robinson. Like the Suns would like Mitchell Robinson, and they could trade Ayton, which is what the Knicks need, like a big man that's inside that can do some damage inside. I was like, oh, whatever.
I mean, if the Knicks just want to continue to clog the floor so Julius Randle gets shut out in the playoffs, fantastic. Like they suck too. Like I don't know what Dolan's doing over there. I don't know. I am not a believer in DeAndre Ayton. I think there was a path for DeAndre Ayton to play like an Embiid or play like a real center. And he just, for some reason, opted to try to be like a power forward or Kevin Durant style. Like, bro, if you don't get in there and bang bodies with somebody and try to be a dominant force inside, he's so frustrating to watch. Like to be 7 foot and to love lifting, but to not want to muck it up in the paint is absolutely foolish.
It also makes, I think, every old school basketball player cringe.
Yeah,
in their head.
It's like, why are you not trying to play like Boogie Cousins? Like you have absurd size and you want to pull up for these mid-range jump shots. Like boy, you won't face any centers with muscle all year. Get in the paint. I can't stand DeAndre Ayton for real.
Man, speaking of getting in the paint, is Zion Williamson going to be the next big name to get traded?
Dude, he ain't gonna play again, man. He ain't gonna play again.
His bust. Like him and this girl, like it's over. Like every arena he's going to go to, they're going to be chanting Mariah Mills.
What?
He can't keep his weight in order.
No, he can't.
I mean, they said that boy eats gumbo 4 times a day. Like, buddy, put it down.
That's what it seems like, dude. It's like Ben Simmons, where it's like he gets injured and he doesn't really care about recovering or getting back on the court. It's just kind of like, all right, well,
Dude,
I guess I'm hurt, so I'm going to be watching from the court side.
There's like tiers, like the guys that love basketball, the guys that like basketball, the guys that are indifferent about basketball, and then the guys that hate basketball. I think Zion hates basketball the same way that I think Ben Simmons hates basketball.
Well, you know what happens? And I think you said it earlier, Chris, and I think Josh mentioned it as well. This goes right back to what we talked about at the beginning. This is AAU. Look at Zion. He got all the publicity when he was 16, 17 years old. Like when I was 16, 17 years old, man, I was just trying to work my butt off so the coach saw me so that way I could play the next game. Right. And I think you look at, like, I've said this for years. I said this in baseball as well, because baseball's become this travel game where you don't really play for high schools anymore. I've said, look, the best players at the end of the day are going to be the players that love the game, but you can't love the game when you're basically forced to play 85 games in like a freaking summer. Right.
Yeah, and there's always that next game, that cash that check will always cash on the 1st and the 15th of every month.
Yeah. So. And I think Zion's one of those guys and I think Zion and Ben Simmons are the same boat. Like, or I think, like, dude, they love the fact, like, hey, I get all this guaranteed money. I don't have to play again. I get all this money. I don't care. Dude, I'm making million for just sitting on the couch playing video games while everyone else is out working their butts off. Like,
playing video games with Kyler Murray.
Yeah. And again, it's like, again, this is the thing. Like, we don't know their brains, but we don't know like what they're thinking. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you're a team, if you're the Pelicans, why not cut loose on this? Eat up the salary cap, eat it up, right? Just suck it up, eat it up, whatever. Go out and get you someone that's actually going to play and be a benefit to your team, not someone that's going to hinder you for the next 10 years because of not playing and not pushing you guys forward.
Man, they just gave Zion too like a 4-year, $190 million extension too.
Brutal.
Stupid.
D'Lo kind of threw some shots. I'll never forget when he was leaving high school. And actually, when he was leaving Ohio State, he said, I've now been at really high levels of basketball for 2 years, and I've been astonished by the guys that don't love basketball. The guys that don't want to put, like, I text guys, come put shots up. Nah, I want to play the game. And at first, I thought he was talking about someone at Ohio State. But do you know who was the starting 5 on his high school team?
It was Ben Simmons was on that starting 5, right?
Yeah, Ben Simmons was there.
Yeah, Ben Simmons was there.
Dude.
Yeah, and at first I thought it was about an Ohio State teammate, but then it became very clear to me he was talking about Ben Simmons, and that was an absolutely ridiculous run at Mount Verde too.
Yeah, that was unreal. Yeah,
it was D'Angelo, Embiid, and Ben Simmons were all around that same area.
Wow,
nuts!
3 top 3 picks on the same team.
Draft picks,
absurd. And it was clear, he said, some people here don't love basketball. And the one that he said did love basketball from Ohio State was Jayshawn Tate. And that's why it's so cool to see him in the league. I
love it, man.
Well.
Freaking played in Belgium, man. Dude played in Belgium.
Made his way back, was a rookie like 3 or 4 years after D'Angelo Russell, if that. So I love Jayshawn, bro. Definitely an idiot on the court, but I love that, man. He just doesn't stop.
Yeah. Well, shoot, I think that's a perfect segue over to the NBA draft talk, man. This Victor Wembanyama guy, man, they're saying he's not just a top 5 prospect in basketball, but all of sports.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have we seen, like, the media, build these guys up to, like, these kind of heights, these expectations, not even put on by the kid themselves. It's just the media doing it to him. How is he going to possibly live up to this?
Chris, didn't we hear them say that about Zion? Oh, I think we've heard that before. Oh, it's fascinating.
Zion, Ben Simmons, Jabari Parker. We can name a lot more.
That Jabari stuff was wild. Say what
it was. They've been looking for the next LeBron, man. It's like every year on Sports Illustrated, there's a new The Chosen One ? Kid on the cover at one point.
The wildest thing I heard during this pre-draft process was an analyst say that forget about draft prospects. Like, if we're just ranking the top 20 basketball players in the world right now, that Wembanyama's on there. And I was like, what are we doing at this point?
Dude, like, Paul Pierce did that with Zion Williamson when he was at Duke.
Like, this is my thing.
Yeah.
Wembanyama, right? He's played in Europe, so I do have to give him. That's one thing I will say. I have to give him a little credit because he's playing in a really tough French league. The French league is freaking hard. Like it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I mean, he is kind of the freakiest freak that we've ever seen. I mean, he's 7'6", almost probably. He's like 7'4", almost 7'5". He's got a wingspan over 8 foot, right? Or nine, probably closer to 9 foot, right? Like to me, yeah, it's a freak. And he was sitting down with JJ Redick yesterday, and it just is funny because he can barely fit in the chair. Like his knees are freaking up to his head because his legs. He's very skinny. He's also very skinny. So I don't know, man. I'm interested to hear your take, Kris, because I know we talked a little bit before the show, and I know I'm a big proponent of it has to be the right system in order for him to be this next future. And I think he is going to go to the perfect fit for him to go out of any team that he could have went to. Spurs will be Popovich is probably drooling going, I have Tim Duncan maybe 2.0 plus a little bit of a spin-off of having another French guy. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, he's a freak show. He was built in a lab, definitely all that. But and I'll get killed for this, I'm sure. But I've always stood by this philosophy, and I haven't changed it forever. Like I will not move on from this. I do not believe in drafting unicorns as cornerstones.
Yeah.
I simply do not. And I think Wembanyama will probably break that and look like a good player, but I'm okay with going 1 for 4. Like 4 for 1 on that. Like I don't believe in drafting unicorns. I didn't believe in Dragon Bender as a number 3 overall pick.
Oh, me neither.
I didn't believe in Kristaps. And I think Kristaps is a good player, but like the unicorns always get injured for me. And,
they do.
And so that worries me long term for a cornerstone. I thought the same way about Zion. There's no like he's definitely a unicorn.
Chet Holmgren is another one.
Dude, now that I'm thinking about it,
deal.
Giannis might be the only unicorn that panned out.
Yeah,
like in the last decade.
And in Giannis's case, he wasn't even viewed as a top 10 prospect. Like there was no even talk about him going in the top 10. So I don't believe in drafting unicorns, and for that reason, I would take Scoot Henderson. I think Scoot in any other draft is the number 1 overall pick. He's 6'6", can handle the ball, and you can immediately, as soon as he steps in the NBA, know, okay, we're gonna give him the ball. He's gonna go. He's had a year and a half of working with NBA players and playing in the G League against like some of the elite young. I mean, probably 3rd or 4th best league in the world. And he has been able to be really productive and keep learning and adapting. He's a really plus athlete, but doesn't rely on that to be a good player. And the fact that he's already been playing against grown men for so long, I think Scoot is the one. When he went up against Wembanyama's team, he performed really, really well. Obviously didn't make the headlines, but I believe he scored 28 and had 9 assists.
That's against grown men.
Yeah, against grown men. So again, like even in some of the other drafts, like Blake Griffin was the freak of his draft. Well, guess who was drafted after him? James Harden and Steph Curry. So I'm a believer. I don't draft the freaks. I don't draft the unicorns. I don't believe in it. I think they almost always get hurt. And if I'm wrong on Webby, I'll definitely wear that. But I feel more comfortable with the next 10 to 15 years of Scoot Henderson over Wembanyama.
They're even saying that the best player off that Met 92 team, Metropolitan 92 in France, is actually a guy who's going to go later in the top 10. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's a forward. It's a super hard name to think of. But he's been climbing up boards. And there are people saying, like, dude, this dude's more legit right now if you put him in the NBA tomorrow over Wembanyama, who is probably going to take a year. He's probably going to take a year to get his body up. I mean, he only weighs, I think, like 210. Or is it like 215? Something like that, which is crazy.
Whatever height he is.
Yeah. So that's nothing. Oh, I just saw a breaking news on the ESPN just popped on my phone. Josh, that the Celtics are working on a deal to acquire Kristaps Porzingis in a 3-team deal that sends Malcolm Brogdon to the Clippers. Speaking of unicorns, wow, what timing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How about that? So Kristaps is going to Boston?
That's what they're saying. They're working on a deal. They're trying to finalize the deal right now, which would be really weird because I don't know how that's going to fit. But
I'll tell you one thing: Al Horford being your best post player is a problem. So
bro,
I don't know
Al
how
Horford
much
was old when I was in high school, bro.
That is true.
I mean, dang, I watched Al Horford play in the NCAA tournament when I was like 9 or 10.
If you want to see the ugliest shot in the NBA, watch Al Horford shoot. It is atrocious.
Yeah,
it's the ugliest thing.
That joint's wet though. It'd be.
It's true.
Yeah, it seems to work for him, but yeah, I guess as long as Kristaps is healthy, I mean, he's a good player. It's just how healthy
Also,
is he?
can we also tell you? Can I also say that like Kristaps only like 25? Like he's been in the league for like freaking 8 years.
Yeah,
He's only like 25. It's absolutely phenomenal
Yeah.
to me.
Well,
That dude's-
bodies with those kind of limbs and feet are not meant to be running for an 82 game stint,
No.
bro. It literally never works.
You guys remember the that Kevin George or whatever his name was from UNC Asheville that was 7'7" that just they kept him on the end down the one side, and he actually ends up getting his legs amputated because his knees couldn't handle it
I
anymore.
only remember Taco Fall. What
Dude,
was
I was
that?
gonna say, I
Fall.
was like, I remember Taco Fall. I don't remember that guy though.
I remember that
I mean,
dude because it was
Bol wasn't Bol
Bol
he's still
Bol.
playing. He's still playing.
Yeah,
He's
but I've
I
seen
think he's still trying
injuries.
to. Yeah.
He's still trying to. And then Thon Maker, another unicorn, but they're still quite.
Thon, dude.
No one knows how old he is. So
he's from Senegal.
the biggest mystery in sports is how old is Thon Maker.
Yeah. Gosh, man.
I'm just saying, bro. I
seeing
just
that
don't
kid.
believe in the unicorns, and part of it's because I just love Hooper so much. And when I watch Scoot, I'm like, oh yeah, he could give anybody 30. I think he's a better prospect than Anthony Edwards was coming in.
So you're telling me that Bryce Sensabaugh is not a better prospect than Scoot?
Man, I love Bryce, bro. I'm irrationally biased towards Bryce, bro.
Apparently, man, because I've been actually looking at where they're projecting Bryce. I've seen like late first round,
Well, that's
early
stupid.
second.
Dumb.
Which
Bro, I would draft him top 10.
Bryce averaged 16 and 5 and shot 40%
On
from
a
three. I'm
bad-
trying
on
to
a bad
figure
Ohio
out
State
why
team.
that's not like top 10 or top 15 pick.
On a bad Ohio State team too, by the way.
And he's out of position, bro. He's really a 2, but people don't know that.
Freaking Chris is gonna be like, he's gonna be bringing like he's gonna fly to New York with a poster and be like, draft Sensabaugh.
Man, I'm trying to go to his draft party. I'm trying to get the invite, but people want to act like, oh, I'm just playing. No, I'll send this to Jordan to watch this. I love you, Jordan. If I get to go, that'd be cool. If not, I'm not mad at you.
Yeah.
He's just a little salty.
Yeah.
So Chris is sold out on Scoot. The other guy that everybody's talking about that could go to is Brandon Miller from Bama.
Too much off the field.
Is there too much?
off
Is
the
that
court.
what it is, Chris? More off the court, or do you just think that Scoot's like, the better skilled player?
I think even if you strip away all the off the field stuff or off the court stuff, like I think Scoot's better. Brandon's cool, but Brandon doesn't see the court like Scoot.
Yeah.
And primarily he's a catch and shoot, like 3 dribble move kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's worth a number 2 overall pick. I do know he measured in at 6'10", but like his bag isn't like Paul George.
Ron Lewis. He's gonna be Ron Lewis.
Ron Lewis. I mean, I think his ceiling is probably like a skinny Danny Granger, but I just don't love it, bro. I just don't love it. I feel like I see these skinny hoopers all the time get there, and it takes them so long to figure it out. By the time they figure it out, there's like something.
No,
new
he's gonna
and
be
cool.
he's gonna be Tony Snell. That's what he's gonna be.
Yeah, honestly, bro, that one's. I hate Tony Snell. Tony Snell be out there just doing cardio, bro. Like you'll see a Tony Snell stat line every now and again. It's like 36 minutes, 0 for 0 shooting, 0 rebounds, 1 assist. And it's like, Tony, like if you could just get a treadmill. Like I don't know what we're doing out here.
He's also a guy that looks like he's 45.
Yeah, he's looked 45 for the last 13 years, and it's really confusing me. And he also looks like he doesn't sleep, like bags under his eyes, like Tony, take a nap. Like it's really like we know you don't love basketball. So no, I like Brandon Miller. I think he's going to be a decent player, but I think he's going to be 3 or 4 steps below a guy like Paul George, if I'm being honest. And really, I would make him probably a 6-man, and I don't believe in drafting 6-man number 2 overall, but I could be wrong on that. This is how high I am on Scoot. Is really kind of what this is about.
Yeah.
Bryce and Scoot, man. If he had a party, man, he'd hang out with Bryce and Scoot. That's what he'd do.
Scoot is built. He is built crazy, bro.
Like Josh.
He's built like Josh. Just like Josh
Like
with a
Josh.
bag like James Harden. Like think about if you could. How tall are you, Josh?
5'10".
Look, if you could add 6 inches to Josh, and then also give him James Harden's bag, like yeah. What do we mean?
And
That's
make
like
him
bust
and make
proof.
sure that he's actually good at basketball, which Josh is not.
Hey, I'll look
Yeah.
like I'm good though.
I mean, if we could just drop off Josh's muscle onto James Harden's body, and then also give him passion for the sport of basketball, that's what Scoot's looking like, bro. I hate to break it to everybody.
Give them Josh's muscle, Chris's passion.
It's like
Hey,
what if
my shooting
what if-
ability?
What if De'Aaron Fox
bitch.
drank a protein shake one time in his life? Like that's Scoot Henderson.
That is Scoot. Man,
Like what
Oh.
if John Morant was thicker, bigger, and didn't tote guns or fake guns? Like that's
Dude, Jock can ball even without all that. It's just the gun thing
That's what
keeping
I'm
him off the
saying.
court. Yeah.
Now imagine if he was the size of Scoot. Like that's what Scoot is. I've seen Scoot do some ridiculous stuff with the ball in his hands. He's got huge hands, and I haven't seen him with a gun yet. So
People are going to tune in and go, what are you talking about? The Uncle Scooter from outside of Bellefontaine, Ohio? Jeez.
Uncle Scooter. Yeah, Scoot.
At a trailer park.
Yeah.
I'm a big Scoot guy.
So you kind of see Brandon Miller as like a sixth man. So I'm assuming this draft isn't super deep with talent. I've been hearing people talk about the Thompson twins, maybe being top 10, like Cam Whitmore, Jarris Walker. Is there any other guys in this draft that you really like, Chris, or is it pretty much just 3 guys and that's it?
Bro, when the Thompson twins shoot the ball, it sounds like a car accident outside. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like I don't know what, like, I thought, listen, here we go. I've had a theory on this. I thought that like starting at like a year and a half ago, we were going to start to see all like the AirPod hoopers. And by AirPod hoopers, I mean all the kids that never had to go through the struggle of having their phone in their pocket with the cords going up.
Agreed,
And
man.
so I used to love going to the gym and shooting, but the thing that would like make me stop was my things keep coming out because of the cord and like my phone. But we're now hitting an era where AirPods have been out long enough for a whole generation of hoopers to come in, like, and all they know is hooping with AirPods. And I thought when that happened, we would never have cases of guys with such busted jump shot that's silly because you have no reason to have a busted jump shot because just stay in the gym. You have AirPods in. You don't have to have your phone in your pocket. And yet somehow, some way, when I watch the Thompson twins shoot the ball, it gives me arthritis. And the way the ball hits the rim, it sounds like a car accident outside. Like, and I'm looking and I'm like, for Houston, I'm like, I watched the workouts. They look really gifted. They do really good. And then you see them start shooting, and it's like, jinkies, mate. Like, no way. That's actually the shot that you trotted out here after all this time. They will go top 10. And I'm being low on Brandon Miller. I think Brandon Miller has his ceiling is probably Paul George. His floor is probably Cam Reddish. We're going to find that out really soon. I think Cam Reddish is super gifted, but just doesn't love the sport. The Jarris Walker kid, I really like. I think he is a better shooter than the Thompson twins. And is also athletic enough. And at his worst, he can be a 3-and-D guy. And I think 3-and-D guys are so valuable because once you get relegated to a 3-and-D guy, you don't have to worry about a guy like Walker feeling like, okay, I want to dribble the air out of the ball and go create a shot. And then you get messes. So I'm out on the Thompson twins, but I do like Walker.
And there'll be a white guy that might get drafted top 10. A white guard. I don't remember his name.
Grady Dick?
Yeah, which is the
From
worst
Kansas?
last name to have. I'm sorry. Worst last name you could have.
No, he'll be a top 10 pick. He won't fall outside the top 13. I've seen a couple mocks have him going to Orlando at 11.
Ugh. But yeah, I mean, the draft is just weird. The NBA draft is just, I never watched the NBA draft. It's boring. It's like awful to watch.
And you look back, there's only like 2 stars in every draft.
Yeah. There's a bunch of dudes that are like, from Lithuania, he will not play for 5 years. His draft rights are now
2 years away from being 2 years away. Bruno Caboclo, that was the craziest thing, bro. I could not believe that. They said he could be Kevin Durant in 5 years, and then he got here and couldn't beat out Clint Capella or Isaiah Hartenstein, who I love Isaiah Hartenstein, by the way. I'm big fan.
Yeah, man. The last fun draft that I can recall was probably the one that had Trae Young, Luka Doncic.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
2018, I think it was.
That was fun because those guys were so skilled they could play. You knew they could play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Shoot. I didn't have anything else to discuss NBA, guys. If none of you wanted to say anything else, we can move over to some football talk.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so you guys are both Buckeye fans. We're heading into a new season here. And to me, there's like 3 glaring questions that are going to determine Ohio State's success this season. I think it's going to be the quarterback position. We don't even know who that's going to be yet. And unproven either way, no matter who it is. Replacing 2 tackles that allowed no sacks last year, I believe. And then just how much is the defense going to improve after 1 year under Jim Knowles' system? Because basically it's the whole group all back again. Do you guys agree those are like 3 biggest question marks on Ohio State this season?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that. I mean, I think we all secretly know in our hearts who the quarterback's going to be, even though it hasn't been announced. I think we all kind of know, I think, where it's leaning. I think if McCord doesn't win this, then that just says that I feel like we've wasted McCord using McCord because the dude's got an arm talent of, I mean, very good arm talent. Like Devin Brown is going to be, I think, a good quarterback. It's just one, it'll be disgusting to see his number as the quarterback, whatever number he's wearing, 33. I'm sorry.
He's got to change that.
It's got to change it. It's
no swag university, bro.
It's gonna be gross.
What are we doing?
But no, I think, to be honest, this is just a placement until Aaron Nolan arrives. Like, I think this is just a placement year. Like, even if McCord wins it this year, right, and does well, like, unless he goes out and wins the Heisman or makes a national title, and we win.
But if he wins the Heisman, he's out. Like, if he wins the Heisman, he's gone.
Because Aaron Noland, I'm telling you, like, Dylan Raiola, you're lost to me, and I never want to see your face ever step foot in the horseshoe again.
They call him Dylan Ravioli.
Freaking awful. I don't care.
I ate a Wendy's 4 for $4 today after I saw the Menace episode today. It's like I gotta support, man.
But this
special
thing.
Occasions.
So I'd say, to answer your question, Josh, I think I agree with you on the tackles. Like, that definitely makes me really nervous, because they came out of spring and they hired like a former NFL coach who's basically a really good offensive line coach, which worries me, because that means nothing's getting done on the offensive line. And I think, to answer your third question, I think the defense is going to be a lot better. Like, I agree that's a question, but I believe this defense could be nasty. Like, I think if the pieces fall right and they stay healthy, this defense, there's some young studs in there that everyone's going to say, well, Michigan this, and Michigan fans tell me all the time, like, hey, we're going to beat you by 30 this year. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Well, let's just see what happens. Let's see what happens, because this defense is really ticked off, and I think I'm more worried about the offense this year. I never thought I would say that, than I am the defense. Like, personally, that's what I'm more worried about.
Dude, I think the defensive line could be freaky, man. You get like Jack Sawyer, JTT, Tyleek Williams, and Michael Hall Jr. all on the same line. That could be some problems for
as long as Coach Johnson doesn't decide to pull them out like 2 plays into like the drive.
Let's rotate 16 guys.
Well, the hope is there's nobody to rotate them for. Like, everyone.
There's no depth, so these are our guys.
Yeah, everyone else is gone.
Jean-Baptiste is out of here. All those other dudes.
If they do want to rotate, I do think Kenyatta Jackson is really good too. So I wouldn't mind seeing him in every now and again. I think Caden Curry was really disruptive, so I wouldn't mind him coming in. And to Ben's point, like, I'm worried about the offense this year more, which makes me feel like we're in a great spot. Because I know under Ryan Day, the offense will never be bad.
Yeah.
A couple things that I just of note. I expect this to be a top 10 defense this year.
Yeah.
Even in the Michigan game, our corners only got beat one time, and it was on the all-out blitz, and that was Cam Brown.
Yeah.
This is the first time since I've been an Ohio State fan where I don't think I'll miss a single player. Like, I think every player that left is going to be filled with a better one.
Yeah, I was like, thank you.
That's really rare. Like, I'm so thrilled that guys are gone. I think Igbinosun is really good. And played a lot of reps as a freshman.
He's a freak.
I would love to see him in that Sean Wade role as that nickel corner,
yeah,
nickel safety. But I think they'll probably play him outside.
I think Jahad Carter's going to play there. That's where I think he's going to play.
Yeah, well, he's got to get his knee right.
Yeah,
he's still struggling to get that knee right. But I do know that they've been working Jair Brown in that spot as well.
No, that's actually a good spot for him. Yeah,
they like his upside and kind of his ability there. Just defensively, I think this has a chance to be a suffocating defense.
Eichenberg's back.
Defensive line, the defensive line side, I just think they're going to be really, really good. So that's a leap. Bro, I've been thinking that it's been Kyle McCord going to be starting quarterback, but I keep getting these calls about how Ohio State wants to be athletic at the quarterback position. From people inside Ohio State. So I don't know.
Or do they do a duo kind of quarterback thing where they do more packages type of quarterback play? We haven't seen that
Ryan doesn't
work.
want to.
Yeah, I know.
Ryan's an NFL.
So I've never seen Ryan Day do that.
But that's what I'm saying.
The package stuff.
But my fear is, like, this is the thing, and Ryan Day does this, and it drives me nuts. He waits so long to announce a quarterback. I think in order to help the team, you have to announce it as soon as the first week of fall camp. You cannot wait until near the end of fall camp. You have to say, this is our guy. We're going to stay behind him. Look, if anything, if you want an athletic quarterback, dude, get Wildcat packages, right? Get some Wildcat packages for some athletic dudes. That's what we do here in Europe, right? Like, when we're we don't have guys that are great runners. We put Wildcat packages in, and that's what we do, right? And I think that's what, like, Kyle McCord can run. I don't think he's definitely not an athletic dude by any means, but dude, I don't care, dude. If you're throwing for 4,000 yards, dude, and we have 3 great running backs, dude, I care less if you can run the ball.
Now,
do you think that, or go ahead, Chris?
There's just been this talk like Kyle McCord's arm talent is like been really underestimated. And the words that have been used to me about kind of like the release is like he has the best finishing ball they've seen since Justin Fields was there. Now CJ Stroud, obviously like super accurate, but you never like the ball never finished well.
Yeah.
Like you never thought like, whoa, like that ball has like great rotation and makes it all the way through like that. So there's a belief that like Kyle's automatic, and if they want to kind of rip it that way, they can. But the worry is like if the tackle play isn't where they want, then they will play Devin Brown, because Devin Brown is a really plus athlete. So right now Kyle's ahead, and I do expect him to be starting quarterback, but I might have shut the door a little bit too early on Devin just because they want to be athletic there.
And it didn't help Devin that he got his finger hurt. That did not help him in spring.
Felt very Joe Burrow-y,
yeah, it does, and that's what it feels like. Because this is the thing, Devin Brown's kind of screwed because if he doesn't win the starting job this fall, I think in his mind he knows Aaron Nolan's coming in, and then after that you have St. Clair, but you also you have Ryan Montgomery as well, and he's in a weird spot.
Don't forget about Link though.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say
that's what I was saying. True,
it's so funny, bro, because like Lincoln Kienholz. This is gonna sound crazy, like, and I hate that I've kind of gone this far. Lincoln Kienholz will be the best athlete that Ohio State's had at quarterback since Justin when he gets to campus. So if like the thing about Devin Brown is like they love his athleticism, he's no longer going to be close to near like the top athlete in the room once Lincoln gets there.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you guys know, like Lincoln posted a verified, like at a separate party, a verified 40.5-inch vertical. He also measured in at 6'3", 205. Like, if he was black, you'd be talking about this dude as like a real generational athlete.
This is a top 5 wide receiver in the combine, boys.
Like, ridiculous catches, can do the backflip with the pads and the helmet on. He completed the trifecta last year. State championship in football and Mr. Football, South Dakota. State championship in baseball and Mr. Baseball, South Dakota. And state championship at basketball, as well as winning he's going to finish high school career with more than 4 state title rings. Like, he's actually just like, God just accidentally spilled a little bit of athleticism at this one random home in South Dakota. Like, he is God gifted. And the issue was, okay, when he goes and competes against bigger, faster guys, how's he going to look? He went to his All-American game, and he was the only kid on his team to throw a touchdown. He was out there gaming guys, and he was racing the receivers during some of the practices and beating a lot of them. Everyone's looking around like, who is this kid? Who is he? Because nobody knows him. Like, he never played the recruiting game. He just somehow, some way in South Dakota was God gifted and has a ridiculous amount of athleticism.
Well,
and he's going to be draftable in baseball.
Oh yeah, that's the thing is that there's talk that the baseball coach at Ohio State is drooling that if he can somehow convince Ryan Day, because Ryan Day doesn't like doing that. He doesn't like giving the players to play 2 sports. He doesn't like that. But if they can let him do baseball, I think the baseball coach will be be like, thank you very much.
And the baseball coach is plugged in. Baseball coach was around and one of the first people to know when Dylan Raiola was decommitting, and that's and it was right before Lincoln committed.
So the question on that, I know you're a little more into the recruiting. You know, I'm over here in Europe. I only hear the trinkles. But your thoughts on Raiola, do you think it ultimately came down to Ryan Day wanted to go a different way, or do you think it came down to Dylan Raiola just wanted to go to Georgia that bad? Or is it vice or something else?
Well, a couple things. It doesn't sound like Dylan's dad takes criticism of his son very well, and there had to be an improvement. Yeah, there had to be an improvement from Dylan Raiola, and no one wants to talk about it. Dylan Raiola's junior tape is CIA secured. You can't get a hold of it. It is nowhere to be found because people don't want to talk about the fact that he looked lost in his first year at this high school that he went to. That was Loaded High School. They lost to Basha High School twice in the state of Arizona. There's no reason for him to lose both those games. And okay, team sport, I get it. But in a state playoff game where you are the 2 touchdown favorite and you throw for under 100 yards.
Yeah.
The other thing too, with all the transferring, it's like players should be transferring into his school to play with him. You're the number 1 quarterback in the class.
And no one wants to.
There's some players that are rubbed the wrong way by him and don't trust his family. That's why he was uninvited to play with SFE, is the rumor. So he was supposed to be South Florida Express, the 7-on-7 team. He was supposed to be their quarterback whenever they went out west for the big OT7 tournament. And something happened while he was still committed to Ohio State where they pulled that invitation and said, absolutely not. Is kind of the word on the street. And then additionally, nobody committed to Ohio State on offense when he was the quarterback. And when Jeremiah Smith committed to Ohio State, he had already gotten word that Dylan was gone. And
that's fascinating.
Yeah, really, really fascinating. And honestly, like, I am shocked he committed to Georgia. I thought the decommit was going to lead him to Nebraska.
That's what I thought, 100%.
Yeah, because I do know there was some talk about like, oh, you guys have a staff opening, and rumor has it the dad wanted some input on who would fill that staff opening at Ohio State, and no input was accepted.
Yeah, Brian Day's like, you're not doing that. Sorry.
Yep, and there was
These
input.
Dads, man.
Yeah, there was input at Nebraska. I don't know if you guys know, but Dominic ended up getting a full-time job at Nebraska as a full-time coach. Not Dominic, or one of the other Rayolas ended up getting a full-time job, one of the 9 position coach jobs.
He's like, hey, screw you. Changing my mind. No,
I do know Lincoln Riley was turned off by some Rayola antics, and that's why they stopped recruiting him entirely after the visit. So yeah, we're good over here.
Yeah, and I think he just transferred to a Georgia school for this upcoming year.
Buford High School. So Buford is elite. They now have 3 top 20 players on the same team. Edric Houston, the number 1 defensive end in Georgia, who I expect to come to Ohio State, plays there. No, Buford's really, really good.
Yeah. But even I was even thinking like, the Jeremiah Smith, everyone's like, oh, he's gonna not go to Ohio State. I'm like, listen to me. Brian Hartline is the best wide receiver coach in the country. He is the best recruiter in the country.
By a wide margin.
Jeremiah Smith is not going to just all of a sudden decide, oh, I'm going to go to Georgia, or like, he has all the right. Like, he's not signed, so he can do whatever he wants. But dude, a lot of these guys, they like doing it because it brings them like fun posts, right? Like, it just gives them views, right? At the end of the day, look, if he doesn't want to come, that's fine, because I trust Brian Hartline. Like, I know whoever Brian Hartline brings in, it's going to be the best receiver in the country. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a part of that. Like, brings a guy in, and now this dude is going to be a top 2 pick next year. Which is crazy. And I'll tell you, I think to kind of sum up the Ohio State talk, one thing I want to say too is that I think people don't understand that losing to Michigan 2 years in a row is a very new thing for Ohio State fans. And trust me, the Woody Hayes, they feel it in there. They know that this is not good. And I think Ryan Day feels that pressure of like, if I lose this year, I might be out. And that's a reality. It's a reality. And people be like, wow, he's won so many games. I'm like, but that's not how it works at Ohio State. You beat Michigan.
They're trying to start the damage control now. Gene Smith let Ryan know that they wouldn't fire him if they lose this year.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure.
But it might not be up to, but it might be over Gene's head.
One game.
Yeah, it might be over Gene's head at the end of it.
But also Gene Smith coming out and saying it's just one game. Like, shut up, Gene. Like, just shut up. Like, dude,
that's
this
the Notre Dame in him. Foolish.
Like, dumb. But yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, though, I think I really think Ohio State, I think they will beat Michigan this year. I'm saying it right now. Like, I think Ohio State right now in June, I think Ohio State will beat Michigan, because I think Harbaugh's ego and Michigan's ego is going to get real big. And I think it's just going to take a nice deflator to come in and deflate the bubble, because I don't think
I have Ohio State winning the Natty.
I did 2 last year, so I'm going to pause on that until I had
Ohio State win the Natty last year too.
I'm calling it sneaky Natty season, SNS.
Dude, I think whoever wins the Natty, it's going to be sneaky, just because most of the big programs all got like first-year quarterbacks. Georgia with Carson Beck, and Bama with whether it's Milroe, Simpson, or Buckner.
It's Tyler Buckner.
I don't know, dude. He hasn't been named yet.
There. No,
I'm surprised
he's going to be the starting quarterback, bro. Listen,
I feel like if I had to pick one, he would be.
No, he is. They told him he would be the starter. That's
Buckner.
But they definitely did. Like, he was the backup He was in the middle of a battle with Sam Hartman. Notre Dame did not name the starter. Bama went through spring. Tommy Rees, who coached Tyler and then also brought in Sam Hartman to play over Tyler, called him and said, come to Bama. You're better than what we have right now. He's going to be the starting quarterback, and I'm praying he's successful, because if he's not, a new wave of racism will be invented down there in Bama. Like, if he's not good, the Asian hatred is going to go through the roof. It's like when you get a new flavor of some soda, It's like, wow, what racism is this? Let's hate Asians is kind of what they're teetering on. So for the sake of the Asian community and Tyler Buckner, I hope he throws for at least 3,500 yards. And if he doesn't, I hope Bama fans will look at Tommy Rees and blame him before they blame Tyler Buckner.
I'll tell you what, dude. I'm surprised after all that Nick Saban hasn't told Julian Sain he has to reclassify and come up and play quarterback now.
Man, for real, because we got people, we got like people reclassifying 2 years. Austin Simmons
2 years ahead, man. What the heck?
Florida, committed to Florida. He had a 5.3 GPA, reclassified 2 years.
2 years.
First off,
to enrolling this summer.
I barely graduated high school.
He enrolls in July, doesn't he?
Yeah, so he's going
to be on in the locker room this year, dude. Yeah,
that's absurd.
But anyway, back
to come on over. Julian's the best in the country, in my opinion. He's unreal.
Back to my initial point, though, like all these big time programs that have first year quarterbacks, even like Cade Klubnik, I know he saw some action last year, but that's going to be a first year kid or first year starter over at Clemson as well. It's like, I mean, is this the year that maybe, we got some programs like USC, maybe they'll finally get over that hump with a returning Heisman quarterback. Florida State might make some noise with Jordan Travis, a returning quarterback. And I know that we already talked about Ohio State beating Michigan. I mean, JJ in the Big Ten, I mean, is he going to take that step forward? Maybe make that Michigan offense a little more lethal?
Well, I think JJ stinks.
He's trash. He's trash.
I think he's so garbage, and everybody knows. It's so fascinating to me. He's not better than Jake Rudock was at Michigan, and people don't ever want to talk about how good Jake was for that 1 year. It's interesting. I think it's everyone has to get over their boogeyman this year, right? Like USC's boogeyman is winning him. Like they gotta get over that mental block, and they gotta beat him twice. And Cam Rising is coming back, and that is kind of the one kryptonite, at least for USC, because that is a quarterback that Alex Grinch does not know how to handle. Just period. Just can't handle it. And when Alex
Grinch, he can't handle anything, man. That dude
he couldn't handle me back there, which is why like Ryan Day fired him the first time. Which is I don't want to talk about it too much. Jaden Daniels, I think, could really surprise some people in the SEC. The issue,
I think he's like top 5 in Heisman odds right now.
Yeah, he is returning guy. Had a lot of big wins last year. That's a returning quarterback that I think can make some noise. But I think Florida State wins the ACC this year, because I like Jordan Travis so much. So
if I had to lean one way too, dude, I might go Florida State too. Just with the way that their schedule lines up, they got like all their hardest games at the beginning of the season, though. I think Clemson week 4, LSU week 1, but pretty easy after that. They hit the portal hard. They got a lot of the top offensive guys back, like Travis. I think Johnny Wilson's back at receiver.
And they added Keon Coleman from Michigan State.
And Keon Coleman, yep.
And
really good player.
I will say bold prediction for me is that neither Georgia or Alabama win the SEC this year.
Ooh, who wins it?
LSU.
I thought he was about to say Tennessee, man.
No, LSU.
I think Tennessee's going to fall off a cliff.
Yeah, I think LSU. This is my thing. I don't think Alabama, like with this quarterback issue, like nothing against Tyler Buckner, but I think Alabama. It feels like this is the moment where if you're an SEC team, this is your perfect time to strike. If this is your moment to strike, Georgia is coming off of 2 straight national titles. They're going to be a little weaker this year, I think. Weaker in the sense of just
we hope
you guys.
Well, I think missing Tom Monken, they're going to feel it more than they realize. Yeah. Bobo doesn't have enough to match Ryan Day's 40 ball. No matter what anybody says.
And it's the thing. And I also believe that I say that. And I also, another bold prediction, USC does not win the Pac-12.
Who wins it? Washington?
Utah.
Oh. And I'll watch out for Washington, man. Michael Penix.
Dude, I'm just saying, man, the Pac-12 might be the most fun conference to follow this year with all the quarterback talent over there.
I don't believe in USC's defense. I don't believe in Alex Grinch as a defense coordinator. And I think that Riley still needs to show me that in the big games, he can come up with some big decisions that matter and that are crucial. And he has not done that. Ryan Day has done that at times, right? But one thing who's done that is Utah. Utah has always come up big. Even when they got blown out by Ohio State, they kept that competitive, right? It wasn't even really a blowout, but they kept that competitive, right? So
I think we won on like a last-second field goal.
Yeah. So to me, I think those are my 2 big things. I think Alabama nor Georgia win the SEC, and USC doesn't win Pac-12.
My bold prediction is Florida beats Tennessee week 4.
I hope, Chris.
No,
I hope. I don't know with what quarterback and with what offense.
With Graham Burrow.
If we're going player, like you guys were talking about players, one player that I have Arch Manning doesn't start till he's a junior in college.
I don't think Arch Manning ever starts for Texas.
I'm just saying, whoever it is, I just don't think he'll start until junior year of college.
Well, Quinn's definitely starting this year.
Dude, Quinn.
So who's starting next year if Quinn goes to the league?
Malik Murphy. Or is that his name?
Malik?
Yeah, Malik.
Yeah.
Dude, I was hoping Malik would portal after that spring game and come to Florida.
Yeah, y'all tampered. Y'all tried it.
See, listen, Florida has nothing other than sadness of tears. That's all they have.
No, they're gonna beat Tennessee on a 3 interception game from Joe Milton. I've seen this movie before.
We have seen Joe at Michigan, man. That dude's a wild card. Credit Josh Heupel for being able to convert Hendon Hooker from like an average quarterback at Virginia Tech to like the elite quarterback he was at Tennessee. Maybe he can do the same kind of magic with Joe, but I don't know. What's the over under for them? Like 7.5, 8.5?
Who's he throwing to? Like, you don't get to lose your 3 best players on offense by a wide margin.
That's also true, man. No Hyatt, no Tillman. Is McCoy gone too?
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this though. I do believe that I think if we're talking about like numbers and what guys will do, I think Harrison gets 1,600 receiving yards. I think you have 3 Ohio State receivers that go over 1,000. I think you have 3 receivers.
Man, this is what I said last year,
and that would be the first time ever.
Because I think you're gonna have him go over. I think Abuka, those 2 for sure will go over 1,000 for sure. And I say this, and I'm saying this, and I might be completely out of right field. I think Jaden Ballard is the other guy. No,
he won't get there because Brian won't let him get there.
You don't think so?
I think he'll have like 6 or 7, and Julian will have like 6 or 7.
So you think that they would be split between those 2 guys?
Bro, Hart's going around telling people that Fleming's a first rounder. He's not coming off the field.
Man, I like Jaden Ballard.
I suppose I'll trust Brian Hartline being the elite developer he is, but I love
Ballard though, bro. I love Ballard. I got to see him. So when I'm obviously from that area. I got to see him play basketball a ton, and he was decent in games, but warm-ups just ridiculous stuff. I mean, that's legit like 10-7 kid.
So Stover, over under 600 yards receiving.
Stover?
Yeah.
I'm saying under.
I hope they bench him, bro.
Bench Cade?
I'm out on Cade.
Dude, put him at fullback, man. Just put him at fullback.
Yeah. Play him that Rossi role. Give him 10 catches for the year. Bring me Bryce Spice, right? Mr. Joe Royer, the redhead curly hair. I mean, give me him.
I'll tell you though, what's the guy from Georgia?
Jelani Thurman.
Dude, that dude's a freaking animal, dude. I saw him in some of the like practice films and stuff. Dude, unreal, dude.
Oh, and our new tight ends coach is really just a receivers coach.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He's a good coach though. He's a good recruiter.
No,
as well.
I mean, I love Key. Yeah. Key's the dude. I'm just saying, like, I don't think that boy Cade Stover is going to be Mitch Rossi. He's no longer Cade Stover.
Here's a question for both of you, because you both have bashed on Clemson quarterback coaching for a while. Does DJ Uiagalelei at Oregon State have a great year to where he puts himself in the Heisman conversation?
I don't think so, but I hope so.
I've been thinking about that, dude. I think at the very least, DJ Uiagalelei is going to have a bounce back season
and rub it in Clemson's face.
I think it just should QB power, Tyron Tube style, like it's Texas.
You know what would be funny is if a bowl game would be Oregon State versus Clemson. I think it'd be the most iconic, amazing bowl game of all time.
That'd be beautiful.
Oregon State did win 10 games last year without him.
Yeah, and they put a foot in Josh's team.
Yeah, Josh's team sucks.
I saw it coming, dude. I was like, look at all the guys that are sitting out for Florida, entering the portal. You know, they don't care about this game.
It was weird seeing
Josh, did they ever
Lindsey,
care?
like former Ohio State commit Tyshawn Lindsey, who's still in college, which is wild because that's like one of the guys that Zach recruited.
Right. That's a long time ago, man.
Yeah, so he was in that class with Trayvon Grimes, and Grimes has been in the NFL or out of Florida for what, a year or two?
Grimes, I think, went to the league 2 years ago.
Yeah, so Grimes and Lindsey were in the same class together, and they committed to Ohio State together in the same video. It was a Bleacher Report dodgeball video where they both committed to Ohio State. And then obviously Tyshawn ended up decommitting and got a bag from Adidas to go to an Adidas school. And then Trayvon Grimes transferred when family member got sick. He wanted to be closer to home. And Tyshawn was in that bowl game against Florida, which was wild.
I'm going to say touchdown. Over under, Florida wins 6 games.
Over. I believe in blue chip Billy.
Man, I think
Josh is struggling.
I think that they're recruiting very well for next year's class right now, but I just think, man, the way that last season looked, and it's not necessarily that everyone that portaled out is a loss. Like I think some of those guys did need to go, but it's just such a brutal schedule, dude. I was looking at it the other day. Let me tell you what it is. I mean, they got to go at Utah now, week 1. I know for sure. They got LSU in there, obviously, as well. Got to go with Georgia and then Tennessee, who Kris says Florida's going to beat them. Yeah. Like, I know those games. I'll read you the order, though, that they got to go.
I'll say this right now. I'll just tell you which one's going to be loss.
Okay. So, at Utah, week 1.
Loss.
Okay. They host McNeese State week 2.
Maybe win.
Thank you, FCS sketch. Okay. Tennessee next.
Loss.
That's a home game.
That's a win.
It's a loss.
Man, I hope it's a win. They host Charlotte next.
Win.
They'd go to Kentucky with Devin Leary at quarterback.
Loss.
They host Vanderbilt.
Win.
It was a loss last year, but it better be a win this time. Oh, man. They go at South Carolina, dude.
Loss.
That's tough. They host, well, not host, but play Georgia at Jacksonville.
That's a loss.
Host Arkansas with KJ Jefferson.
Loss.
Go to LSU.
Loss.
Go to Mizzou.
Win.
And then you host Florida State at the end.
Loss. I got 4. 4 wins.
I got 5.
Man, I'm thinking 5 too, dude. That's tough.
It's the second toughest schedule according to all the computers in all college football.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, non-conference, dude, you got Utah and Florida State. And then cross-conference, you got LSU and Arkansas.
Excuse me, third most difficult schedule.
All I'm going to say is Ohio State's going undefeated this year. I will say that. I don't know if they'll win it all, but they're going to go undefeated this year in the regular season, I should say.
Yeah, I can see it. No, I'm believing.
They're beating Notre Dame by 3 touchdowns.
I don't know what offense Notre Dame's going to run.
They're going to run the old Rudy offense. Just hand the ball off and lift the guy in the air. And
because remember
the Veer with
the Veer, yep.
The Sam, that's going to be weird.
Gerard Parker's the offensive coordinator now. He's the old tight ends coach. I don't know anything about what kind of system he'd want to run.
Me either.
Yeah.
Man, season's going to be fun for sure.
It will be fun.
I can't wait for it, man. You guys got any other college football topics before we wrap this up?
I'm good.
Great show. That was the quickest hour and a half we've done.
Dude, I know.
It was fire.
It's all also there's a record, by the way. My brother told me this, that every time Kris comes on, he's the only guest that goes over an hour. Every other guest is always in and out, man. And we appreciate Kris.
I am so sorry for
No, it's awesome.
No, that's actually what we prefer.
Like. Yeah, because
all the other guests, dude,
it's
are
really
like
hard.
on these schedules where they're like, yeah, I can come on for a half hour or 45 minutes.
And we're like, we're speeding through, man.
And we're like, I mean, we'll take it, but
we appreciate it.
Obviously love to go like a longer episode with them like this.
I love going long. Like even when we do our shows, like Zach prefers to keep it like right at an hour, and I got to do the show like my own, like just with one of my guys on Monday because Zach was in Vegas and it was like an hour and 37 minutes.
Hour and 38. I was like, wait, why is this one way longer than all the other ones?
Someone's producing.
It's because like I'll just talk forever. I don't know. I just will talk forever. So,
we will say we appreciate you coming on. So if all of you, we didn't say this because we were talking about football. So Coach Ben over here, we have our playoff game on Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern time. It's a playoff game. If we win this game, we go to the championship of the Hungarian Professional Football League.
Fire.
So if y'all want to watch at 9 a.m., anybody that's out there listening, you can watch at 9 a.m. this Sunday. It's very early in the morning.
Send me the link.
I will.
Go to your church's 7 a.m. service so you can get back home in time to watch.
That's true. So 9 a.m., we play the Uipesh Bulldogs. We are I wouldn't say our name. You can laugh. Okay. Everyone that I've said on the podcast, they've laughed. Or I've talked to, we're called the Budapest Cowbells. Dude,
I had a cough. It's not a laugh.
No, it's good. We're used to it. We're used to it. But hey, check that out. But also, we do want to say thanks to Kris for coming on. It's been great to have a guest on once again, and just to have a good time talking about some sports. Also, before we go, Kris, why don't you go? It's been a long time. Plug in what you guys are doing. Let us know so we can make sure everyone knows what's going on.
Yeah, you can find me on the Menace to Sports YouTube channel where I pretend to know about football, and my co-host knows a lot about football. So that's it. I don't need a plug. I'm just happy to be able to do this for a living, and that's just more of a blessing. But no, man, just kind of having fun, trying to record more, pick up the work. I think I'm close, guys. I'm really close. I haven't said this yet on any other show, but I'm working on launching my own passion project, a good old boxing podcast mid-July. So laying the groundwork for that on the Menace to Sports Network. But other than that, I'm kind of just working and talking and pretending to talk about ball. And, I'm about to start placing some irrational bets on Ohio State winning a sneaky natty this year. But anything to speak it into existence. But thank you, guys. I appreciate you both.
Hey, of course, man. We appreciate it. If all of you have loved watching this episode, go ahead and like it and subscribe on YouTube. Also, head on over to Menace to Sports and also make sure you drop a follow and a subscription over there. They would appreciate it. I know we appreciate it. So also, if you live listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star. Again, I say this every time, but who's better looking, Josh or Kris? That's the question. Who's better looking?
Question.
Who's more swole?
Josh, bro. Josh is diesel right now. Josh is not allowed anywhere near any of the girls I like. Nowhere near them.
Oh, that would be something to foretell. But anyways, we do appreciate everyone listening and tuning in. We always are enjoy what we're doing. So we hope you guys enjoy it as well. And as we always say, go watch some sports this weekend. Baseball, golf, if you want to watch golf or other things. You want to watch the Cowbells play their playoff game. But all that to be said, we hope you guys have a great weekend. And until next time, we'll see ya.